My principal told my best friend to her face. He said she imagined problems that didn't exist after she reported a teacher for traumatizing me. When we tried to show proof, he warned us. False accusations have consequences. We walked away. That was a year ago. This morning, his retirement hit the front page of the news. Can you imagine being shamed, ridiculed, and utterly destroyed by an entire school? Just for something a monstrous adult did to you? I saw it happen, and it haunted me until I finally understood the terrifying truth. I still remember the day Victoria walked back into our high school. It was sophomore year, for months into the semester, and she was the most popular girl. Or at least she used to be. The moment she stepped into that classroom, the entire place went dead silent. And then this chilling yell cut through the quiet. There's the girl who got railed and is now a mom at 16. The whole class erupted in laughter. Roared, actually. I just froze. Later, in the cafeteria, she was sitting alone, papers being thrown at her like darts. My stomach twisted. I wanted to go to her, to sit with her. But my friend grabbed my arm, a crumpled paper in her hand. Don't feel bad, she hissed. She deserves this. She baby-trapped her boyfriend. He was supposed to go D1 for football, and now he's changing diapers. I watched Victoria for the next few weeks, and it was pure hell for her. Teachers, who once praised her kindness and intelligence, now looked at her with disgust, like she was the embodiment of everything wrong with society. They'd answer her questions with biting sarcasm, make her feel like she didn't belong. And during an intimacy safety class, the teacher giving the presentation stared directly at Victoria the entire time, a silent accusation. The other students, even worse, girls who once copied her style now whispered nasty things. Slut, ruined, pathetic when she passed. Her so-called friends? They exiled her immediately. Her social media was gone within 2 weeks. It was brutal, truly. But even through all that, I noticed something about Victoria. Something incredible. She never, ever let the bullying turn her bitter. I'd see her tutoring special needs kids after school, slipping lunch money to freshmen who forgot theirs. She always had tampons in her backpack for anyone who needed them. And nobody, not a single soul, ever thanked her. They just took what they needed and went right back to pretending she didn't exist. Everything changed the day I decided to skip 5th period. My mom had been on another bender the night before, and she'd hurt me. My hands were shaking so bad, I just needed a smoke. So I went to our hidden spot behind the gym. No cameras, just quiet. I was halfway through my cigarette when I heard footsteps. My heart jumped. Mr. Peterson, my geometry teacher, appeared around the corner. Everyone loved Mr. Peterson. Girls giggled at his jokes in class. He was the perfect teacher. "Rough day?" he asked, moving closer. My mind raced. I knew I was caught. I locked eyes with him, desperate. "Please don't tell anyone," I pleaded. "I won't," he said, his voice surprisingly soft. Too soft. "I've noticed you've been stressed lately. I could help you relax." Before I could even process what was happening, he had me backed against the wall. His hand had started sliding down my arm. I completely froze. My cigarette slipped from my fingers. "Just let me help you," he whispered, his face too close. Then a voice, shaking with pure rage, cut through the silence. "Back the F away." Victoria rounded the corner. Pepper spray pointed directly at his face. Her hand was steady, rock solid, even though her voice was trembling with fury. Peterson stumbled back, trying to play it off. "I was just checking on a troubled student. You're misunderstanding the situation." Victoria's eyes burned into him. I saw everything. "Leave. Now." The way she said it, he actually listened. He muttered something about reporting us for smoking, and then he was gone. I just stared at Victoria, my eyes brimming with a thankfulness I couldn't articulate. She just shrugged, said she'd come out for a cigarette too. "Not a hero," she mumbled. "Just right place, right time." Victoria walked me straight to the principal's office. She demanded something be done about Mr. Peterson. But Principal Hayes? He barely looked up from his computer. Mr. Peterson has taught here for 15 years without a single complaint, he droned, without an ounce of concern. Are you sure you didn't misinterpret what you saw? Victoria slammed her hand on the desk. He had her pinned against a wall. His hands were on her. Hayes turned to me, his gaze unsettling. Is that what happened? Sometimes when we're upset, we see things differently than they really are. And then he looked back at Victoria, his voice dripping with condescension. Given your situation, I understand you might see problems where none exist. If you didn't want drama, maybe you should have thought about that at 15. Victoria's face went crimson, her eyes instantly filling with tears. She just turned and walked out. I was too shy, too scared to speak up. I just followed her. I wanted to talk, to comfort her, but she was gone. I didn't see her for 2 days. But when she came back, the absolute worst thing possible happened to her. I was in algebra when one of the guys who always made jokes about Victoria called me over, smirking, to show me something on his phone. I was reluctant, but he and a few others pressured me. My gut churned, but I agreed. He opened our year group's private Instagram gossip account and just said, "Take a look," laughing. My stomach dropped. It was Victoria, or it was supposed to be. AI-generated nude photos with her face photoshopped on. I felt physically sick. Pretty funny, right? He crowed, turning to his friends. I think they thought I was one of them. I just nodded, barely, and stumbled out of the room. I had seen Victoria earlier, so I knew exactly where to find her. The smoke spot behind the gym. She was sitting on the ground, absolutely sobbing, curled into herself. I didn't say a word. I just sat beside her, letting her cry. After about 10 minutes of that raw, painful sobbing, she finally turned to me. Her voice was barely a whisper. "You're the only friend I have left." Then she lunged into me, pressing herself against my chest. "You deserve to know the truth," she choked out. "My boyfriend, Jake, he's not the father. He left me when I found out I was pregnant." My heart stopped. I couldn't believe it. "Then who is?" I asked hesitantly. "Mr. Peterson," she whispered, before bursting into tears again. My entire world tilted. Mr. Peterson, the same teacher who had just tried what he tried with me, the same man she had just saved me from. I held Victoria while she cried, my mind racing 1,000,000 miles an hour. Everything suddenly clicked into place. The way Peterson had cornered me, his unnerving confidence. He'd done this before. Victoria told me it started last year. She was struggling in his class, and he offered extra tutoring sessions after school. At first, it seemed normal. Then, he started making comments about how mature she was, how special. She said she should have known better, but she was 15, and he made her feel important. And one day, he kept her after tutoring. That's when it happened. She never told anyone. Who would believe her? The most beloved teacher in school versus a popular girl everyone already thought was stuck up. I asked her why she came back to school, why she endured all this hatred. She wiped her eyes. "I couldn't let him win," she said, her voice firmer. "I have to graduate. I have to show my baby you don't give up when things get hard." But now, with these fake photos, she didn't know if she could take it anymore. I knew. Right then, we had to do something. We couldn't let Peterson get away with this. She laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "Nobody will listen to us," she reminded me, thinking of Principal Hayes. "Maybe not alone," I said, looking her straight in the eye. "But together we can figure something out." She looked at me like I was crazy, but I saw it. A tiny spark of hope in her eyes. We sat there for another 20 minutes, just talking. She told me about her parents, how disappointed they were, how they kept asking about the baby's father, but she couldn't tell them the truth. They'd never believe Peterson. Her dad coached JV basketball. Peterson sometimes helped out. They were friends. Her mom volunteered at school events, always raving about what a great teacher he was. Telling them Victoria knew would destroy everything. I understood. My own mom wouldn't believe me about anything on a good day. On a bad day, she'd probably blame me for it. The bell rang, dragging us back to reality. Victoria asked if I'd sit with her at lunch tomorrow. I said yes immediately. And for the first time since I'd found her sobbing, she smiled. Small but real. We walked back into school together, and I could feel the stares. Someone made a nasty comment about me being next to get knocked up if I hung around Victoria. I ignored them. Victoria held her head high, just like she always did. I wondered how she found the strength. That night I couldn't sleep. Peterson, the other girls he might have hurt, still teaching, still everyone's favorite, while Victoria was treated like trash. It made me sick. I grabbed my laptop. I didn't know what I was looking for. Maybe other complaints. Something. I found the school's website, Peterson's bio page. Teacher of the Year 3 times, coached math athletes to state championships, volunteer with troubled youth. It made my stomach churn. Perfect on paper. No wonder nobody believed Victoria. I kept digging old yearbooks online looking for patterns, but nothing. Just smiling photos, grateful students, beaming parents. The next morning, Victoria looked exhausted but determined. Dark circles her concealer couldn't hide. I told her we had to be smart. She'd barely slept between baby feedings and churning anxiety. We couldn't go through official channels. Nobody would listen. We needed another way. I suggested we figure out if he'd done this to anyone else. Her face went dark. She'd wondered the same for months. We split up, agreeing to ask around carefully, not directly, just casual conversations. Meet at lunch. The morning dragged. In English, I tried to ask Samantha about Peterson, keeping my voice light. She shrugged, fine. I pushed. Is he as great as everyone says? She got this weird look, her pencil pausing. Yeah, he's helpful if you need it. Then she just turned away. Wouldn't talk to me. By lunch, I'd talked to 6 girls. 3 gave me that weird, closed-off look. 1 started to say something, then stopped, never mind. Victoria was already at our table, the one by the humming, broken vending machine. Nobody else sat there. She looked frustrated. She'd gotten similar responses. One junior, Lauren, had actually teared up when Victoria mentioned Peterson's tutoring. But when Victoria asked if she was okay, Lauren practically ran away. We knew we were onto something, but no one would talk. I remembered something from a true crime podcast my mom listened to when she was sober enough to focus. Predators rarely have just one victim. They have patterns, types, methods. Peterson liked vulnerable girls, struggling in class, needing help, girls who wouldn't be believed. Victoria fit perfectly. Pretty, popular, but struggling with math. Parents who trusted Peterson implicitly. Nobody would believe her over him. How many others fit that profile? After school, Victoria had to pick up her baby. I offered to come, but she said her aunt already thought she was a bad influence on me. Instead, I went to the library, pulled yearbooks from the last 5 years. The librarian gave me a strange look. I started listing girls in Peterson's geometry classes, then cross-referenced with honor roll lists, looking for students who suddenly improved in math. Tedious, but I found a pattern. Every year, 2 or 3 girls went from C's or D's to A's in just Peterson's class. Their other grades stayed the same. Just math shot up. I took pictures, clear shots of names and grade progressions. Evidence. We needed evidence. That night, Victoria texted me. Her baby was crying. She was exhausted, but she'd thought of something. Peterson kept an old school paper grade book in his desk, not just the digital system. She'd seen it during a tutoring session. He made notes, not just grades, but comments about students. She remembered her name with stars next to it. At the time, she thought it meant he thought she was special. Now, she wondered what those stars really meant. The next day was harder. The AI photos were still circulating, even after the school's zero-tolerance policy. Someone had printed them out and taped them inside Victoria's locker. She tore them down without a word, but her hands were shaking. I saw her blink back tears. In the hallway, a group of guys made gross comments. Bradley, the jock who thought he was God's gift, actually reached out to grab Victoria. I stepped between them. "Back off," I snarled. He just laughed. "Protective of your new girlfriend, huh?" His friends thought it was hilarious. Their laughter echoed off the lockers. Victoria pulled me away before I could respond. "It's not worth it," she whispered. "They're not worth it." Then Peterson walked by. He slowed, looked right at me. Not Victoria. At me. His expression was friendly, concerned, the perfect mask of a caring teacher. "Is everything all right?" he asked, his voice gentle, paternal. My skin crawled. I forced myself to nod. "My door is always open if you ever need to talk," he said, then walked away, his shoes clicking on the linoleum. Victoria's face was pale. "That's exactly how it started with me," she whispered. "The concern, the open door, the wanting to help." I felt sick to my stomach. At lunch, we made a plan. We needed to get into Peterson's classroom, find that grade book. Victoria remembered helping with math department inventory during summer school. She still had access to the main department office. They never changed the locks. And she'd noticed teachers kept spare classroom keys in the supply closet. We'd go after school. Peterson was assistant coach. Gone by 3:30, not back until after 5. That gave us time. It was risky. So risky. But we had no other options. Nobody would talk. Administration wouldn't listen. We had to find proof ourselves. The rest of the day crawled. In geometry, I watched Peterson teach like nothing was wrong. Jokes about parallel lines, girls smiling. He called on me. I answered, my voice steady, somehow. "Good job," he said, moving on. I wondered how he did it. How he could hurt Victoria, try to hurt me, probably hurt others, and still stand there, Mr. Perfect Teacher. The bell finally rang. I met Victoria by the gym. We watched Peterson head to practice, laughing with players. Coast clear. Victoria led me to the math department office. Unlocked. She went straight to the supply closet, found the key ring. Peterson's room number, clearly labeled. My hands were sweating as we walked down the empty hall. His room was at the end. The key worked. Inside it looked normal. Inspirational math posters, student work. His desk neat. A coffee mug, world's best teacher. My stomach churned. We started searching. Victoria took the desk drawers. I checked the filing cabinet. Nothing in the first two. Third, attendance. The bottom drawer was locked. Victoria found a letter opener. We pried it open. 3 grade books. Current year, 2 previous. We flipped through. At first, normal. Then Victoria found the pages with stars. 5 girls in the current book. 3 juniors, 2 sophomores. All with great improvement in the second semester. Previous years, same pattern. Stars by names, always girls, always students who'd struggled, then suddenly improved. Victoria recognized Lauren, Natalie, Julie. I took pictures of every starred page. Names, markings, clear. We had to move fast. Practice would end. As we put the books back, a folded paper fell out. Victoria grabbed it. A note. On girlish stationery. Young, careful cursive. Mr. P. Thank you for yesterday. I won't tell anyone. Please don't fail me. No signature, but it looked old, worn. Like he'd kept it. Victoria's face went white. I wrote something similar, she whispered. He made me write it. Said it was to show I was grateful for the tutoring. Now she knew. It was insurance. Making it look like she was pursuing him. Footsteps in the hallway. My heart stopped. We shoved everything back, locked the drawer. The steps got closer. Measured. Deliberate. Victoria grabbed my hand, pulled me behind the door just as it opened. Principal Hayes walked in, looked around the empty room, then went to Peterson's desk, pulled out a folder, flipped through it, put it back, left. We waited 5 minutes, barely breathing. My legs were shaking. Victoria looked like she was going to throw up. We slipped out, locked the door. Outside, on the bleachers, we tried to process it. Hayes checking Peterson's desk. The stars. The note. The pattern. We have to tell someone, Victoria said. But who? The principal was clearly involved. School board? Police? Would they believe two teenage girls with phone pictures and a wild story? I said we needed more. We needed one of those other girls to talk. Back up Victoria. She agreed, but said they wouldn't. Too scared. Just like she'd been. Still was. That night I couldn't eat. My mom was passed out. Didn't notice. I kept thinking about those names. Those stars. How many girls? How long? I looked them up on social media. Lauren, locked down. Natalie disappeared. Julie, posts from 2 years ago, then nothing. Just like Victoria had to delete hers. Pattern after pattern. The next morning, Victoria texted. Baby had a fever. She was staying home. I said I'd keep digging. At school I felt exposed. Like Peterson would know. But he acted normal. Taught angles, proofs. Made his jokes. But I watched him now. Noticed how he always picked certain girls to help. Quiet ones. Ones who sat alone. Tired, stressed. He had a type. Victoria had been an exception. Popular, confident on the outside. But vulnerable in her own way, struggling with math in a family that demanded perfection. At lunch, I sat alone at Victoria's table. Across the cafeteria, I spotted Lauren. 3 stars next to her name. She looked tired, thin. I walked over. Can I sit? The others looked confused, but Lauren nodded. Small talk. Then, carefully, I mentioned I was struggling in Peterson's class. Her fork stopped halfway to her mouth. I said I was thinking about tutoring, but wasn't sure. Lauren put her fork down. Quietly, find a different tutor. Student tutor online. Anything but staying after school with Peterson. The other girls looked uncomfortable. One changed the subject to winter formal. But Lauren kept looking at me. After lunch, she caught up with me in the hall. Why were you really asking about Peterson? She asked. I took a deep breath. Took a risk. I told her about Victoria. About what Peterson did. Lauren's eyes filled with tears. She couldn't talk about it, she said. She'd worked so hard to forget. Her parents thought she was being dramatic. Said Peterson was a good man. Why was she ungrateful? She transferred to online school for senior year just to get away. But the memories, they didn't go away. I asked if she'd help Victoria speak up. Lauren shook her head. Couldn't go through it again. The questions, the doubt, the way people would look. She'd seen what they did to Victoria. The AI photos. The rumors. She couldn't handle that. She was applying to colleges. Needed recommendation letters. Couldn't have this follow her. I understood. But I was so frustrated. How many girls would stay silent? Lauren must have seen it on my face. I'm sorry, she said, then walked away. That afternoon, study hall in the library. Brittany, a quiet girl from my English class, sat across from me. What are you working on? She asked. Just research for a project, I said. She nodded, then slid a folded paper across the table. Lauren told me you were asking about Peterson. She left before I could respond. I unfolded the paper. A screenshot. Text messages. Peterson's number. Asking a student to meet him. Then they got weird. Did you tell anyone about our sessions? You're special. I can help you with more than just math. My hand shook. This was proof. Actual proof. I texted Victoria immediately. She called from her aunt's house. I told her about Lauren, about Brittany, about the messages. She started crying. Not sad tears. Relieved tears. She wasn't crazy. She wasn't alone. Other girls. We agreed to meet tomorrow. We had evidence now. We had to be smart. He'd been doing this for years. He was careful. Protected. We had to be more careful. That night, I copied everything. Grade book photos. Brittany's screenshot. Emailed them. Saved them on a flash drive. If our phones vanished, we'd still have proof. I barely slept. Peterson in class tomorrow, picking his next victim, grooming someone new. The thought made me sick. We had to stop him. But we were just kids. Who would listen? The next day, Victoria was back. Baby better. Aunt watching him. Exhausted but determined. We met before first period. Plan, one more time with administration. This time all the evidence. Photos, messages. Everything. If Hayes wouldn't listen, superintendent. If not them, school board. Someone had to care that a teacher was preying on students. Someone had to stop him. We walked into the main office. Secretary asked for an appointment. It's urgent, we said. She rolled her eyes, called Hayes. He came out annoyed. 5 minutes before a meeting. In his office, Victoria spoke first. We have evidence that Peterson was inappropriate with students. Hayes sighed. We've been through this before. That's when I pulled out the printed photos, the grade book pages, the stars, the pattern. He barely glanced at them. Grade improvement isn't evidence of anything except good teaching. Then I showed him Brittany's screenshot. His expression shifted. He studied it. Where did you get this? A student gave it to us. Someone else Peterson targeted. Hayes put the paper down, looked at us. This is a serious accusation. If you're wrong, you could ruin a man's career. Do you understand that? Victoria stood tall. Peterson ruined my life. I'm 16 with a baby because a teacher I trusted took advantage of me. How is his career more important than that? Hayes said he'd look into it. Told us to go to class. Let him handle it. His tone was off. Too calm. Too dismissive. We left, feeling defeated. Victoria was right. He wouldn't do anything. He'd just warn Peterson, and it would get worse. As we walked, someone called Victoria's name. Mrs. Chin, our AP biology teacher. She asked if we could talk after school. It's important. We agreed, confused. Mrs. Chin never paid attention to us, but something in her eyes made us curious. The day dragged. Peterson seemed distracted in geometry, checking his phone, stumbling. At one point, he stared at me for too long, like he was trying to figure something out. My heart raced. Did Hayes tell him? Did he know about his classroom? After class, he asked me to stay. My blood went cold. I had to get to my next class, I said. Just a minute, he insisted. Other students filed out. Soon we'd be alone. I grabbed my things, headed for the door. He called my name again. Sharper. We really need to talk about your grades. Your potential. How I can help you succeed. Innocent words. Terrifying tone. I practically ran out. Texted Victoria. Peterson's onto us. Be careful. She texted back. Got a weird vibe from him too. He's watching me. We stuck together. Safety in numbers. After school, Mrs. Chin. Empty classroom. Door closed, blinds down. She asked if we were the ones asking about Peterson. We nodded. She'd heard from Lauren and Brittany. She wanted to help. Why do you care? Victoria asked. Mrs. Chin said she'd noticed patterns for years. Girls dropping out, changing, improving drastically in just Peterson's class. She tried to talk to Hayes 2 years ago. He shut her down, threatened her job. So she stayed quiet, but she watched. And she noticed. Other teachers, too. Mr. Rodriguez, Mississippi Park. All tried to speak up. All got shut down. Peterson was untouchable. Awards. Parents loved him. School board thought he walked on water. The only way to stop him, Mrs. Chen said, is to go outside the school system entirely. Victoria asked what she meant. Mrs. Chin pulled out a business card. Detective Sarah Mills. Crimes against minors. She'll take you seriously, Mrs. Chin said. But you need to be prepared. Once you talk to police, everything changes. The school will circle the wagons. People will take sides. It will get ugly. Are you ready? I looked at Victoria. She was holding the card like it might burn her. I knew she was thinking about her baby, her parents, how much worse things could get. Then she straightened her shoulders. Yes, she said, her voice firm. I'm ready. He can't hurt anyone else. Mrs. Chin said she'd call Detective Mills. Gather all your evidence. Make copies. And be careful. Peterson has friends in high places. The next 2 days were tense. Peterson watched us constantly, even at lunch. Bradley made a sick joke about Peterson having a thing for the teen mom and her friend. My skin crawled. Victoria started having someone walk her to her car. Detective Mills agreed to meet us that Saturday. Mrs. Chin came for support. The station was smaller than I expected. Detective Mills was younger, maybe early 30s, kind eyes, firm handshake. Private room. Tell me everything, she said. No judgment, no rush. Just the truth. Victoria went first. The whole story. Tutoring. Compliments. Feeling special. The touching. Keeping her after sessions. The kiss. The escalation. Too scared to tell anyone. Getting pregnant. Peterson convincing her to blame Jake. No one would believe you anyway, he'd said. Respected teacher versus popular girl trying to cover up, sleeping around. Detective Mills took notes, silent. When Victoria finished, I showed her our evidence. Grade book photos. Stars. Brittany's screenshot. The pattern. Detective Mills studied everything. Asked questions. Dates. Times. Incidents. Thorough but gentle. I believe you, she said, but believing isn't enough. I need more evidence to build a case. Can you get other victims to come forward? I told her about Lauren, about the others. She understood their fear, but their testimony will make the case stronger. She gave us her direct number. Call if you remember anything else, or if anything new happens. And be careful. If Peterson suspects police, he might destroy evidence or intimidate witnesses. We left hopeful and terrified. Someone finally believed us. But now it was real. Investigation. Questions. Trial. Victoria's parents finding out. The whole school knowing. In the car, Mrs. Chun called us brave. Proud. But I didn't feel brave. I felt like I was going to throw up. Monday, Peterson wasn't there. Substitute. Rumors. Sick. Conference. But we knew. The investigation had started. At lunch, Hayes called us to his office. Furious. Did you go to the police? He roared. You should have come to me first. Let me handle it internally. Victoria laughed. An actual laugh right in his face. We tried that, she said, and you did nothing. Hayes said we didn't understand the damage. Peterson is a good man, a good teacher. These accusations will ruin him. Do you want that on your conscience? I finally found my voice. What about the girls he hurt? What about their lives? Their damage? Hayes sneered. That is alleged and proven. You are destroying a man's career on rumors and misunderstandings. Then he said something that sent a shiver down my spine. You should be careful. Making false accusations has consequences. Legal consequences. Victoria stood up. We're done, she said, her voice shaking slightly but firm. We have nothing else to say without a lawyer present. Hayes's face went red, but he let us leave. Victoria was shaking. He basically threatened us, she whispered. I agreed. We texted Detective Mills. Document everything, she replied. Write down exactly what was said. Save emails, messages. Build a paper trail. The rest of the week was chaos. Peterson never came back. The substitute became permanent. Rumors went wild. Arrested. Fled the state. The truth was less dramatic. Administrative leave, pending investigation. But the damage to his reputation had begun. Parents asking questions. School board involved. Then the backlash. Peterson's supporters came out swinging. A parent petition, we were liars. The AI photos resurfaced with new captions. Victoria trying to destroy a good man because he wouldn't sleep with her. It was brutal. Victoria missed 3 days. I ate lunch in the library, but then something unexpected. Brittany came forward, walked into the police station with her parents, gave a full statement. Her parents had found the texts. They believed her. Then Lauren's parents called Detective Mills. Their daughter had something to say. One by one, girls started speaking up. Not publicly, not at school, but to the police. To the investigators. Mrs. Chin kept us updated. More teachers, too. Not direct evidence, but observations. Concerns dismissed. Patterns noticed. Mr. Rodriguez had documentation going back 3 years. Mississippi Park had emails where Hayes told her to mind her own business. The investigation expanded. It wasn't just about Peterson. It was about a system that protected him, silenced concerns, prioritized reputation over student safety. Months passed. Depositions, evidence reviews, legal procedures. Peterson on leave. Lawyers battling. The community divided. Victoria and I faced daily judgment. Hard days. New rumors. But we had each other. And slowly others. Girls who'd been silent started nodding in the halls. Some whispered, "Thank you." Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Peterson was arrested. Multiple counts of inappropriate conduct with minors. The evidence was overwhelming. Not just our testimony. Physical evidence from his home. Photos on his computer. Trophies from victims. Those grade books with stars? Not just tracking grades. Tracking conquests. The community exploded. Parents who defended him were shocked. Others said they always felt something was off. The school held emergency meetings. Counselors. Full cooperation. Hayes announced his early retirement. Wanted to spend more time with family. Everyone knew the truth. He was getting out before they could fire him. But the best part? The students. The ones who tormented Victoria started backing off. Some even apologized. A few. The AI photos vanished. Bradley got suspended for 2 weeks. Football scholarship offers? Withdrawn. Turns out colleges don't like students who create explicit images of minors, even AI-generated. Good riddance, if you ask me. Victoria started healing. Still hard days. Still judgment. But support now. Other survivors. Teachers. Even some parents who apologized. She started talking about college again. Social work. To help other girls like us. The legal process was slow. Hearings delays. Peterson's lawyer tried everything. But the evidence was too strong. Too many victims. Too much documentation. He took a plea deal. 15 years. Registered offender. Never teach again. It wasn't enough for what he'd done, but it was something. Justice. Of a sort. The school district made changes. New policies. Mandatory reporting training. Anonymous tip lines. Too little, too late? Probably. But future students might be safer. I testified. About that day behind the gym. How Victoria saved me. How many others she tried to protect even when everyone hated her. The prosecutor said our evidence was crucial. Without it, Peterson might have walked. Victoria squeezed my hand. We'd done it. Together. Life went back to normal. As normal as it could be. Victoria graduated with honors. Walked across that stage with her baby in the audience. Head held high. I had 2 more years. Different. Better. The culture had shifted. More aware. More careful. More willing to speak up. Mrs. Chin became our mentor. She helped Victoria with college apps. Helped me figure out my path. She said we'd shown more courage than most adults. Changed things. Saved lives. I don't know about all that. We just did what felt right. What had to be done. Peterson's sentence made the news. They didn't name victims, but everyone knew. Victoria gave an anonymous interview, voice disguised. She hoped other girls would speak up, be believed. Adults would protect them. She said she was healing, moving forward. Her baby would grow up in a better world because people finally listened. And that's really the whole story. Messy, painful, complicated. Nothing like TV. Just two teenage girls who refused to let a predator keep hurting people, who found their voices when everyone tried to silence them, who learned that sometimes doing the right thing means everything gets worse before it gets better. But it does get better. So, what do you think? Have you ever had to fight for something you knew was right, even when the whole world was against you? Or maybe you saw something happen and felt powerless to stop it. I'd really love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.